can't see ourselves.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Squared Circle. It is September 27th, 2016. I'm Hollywood J. Williams. Over here to my immediate right, Dangerous Dan.
Not your immediate right, your far right.
Far right. We're having a little problem with the monitor here, so maybe that's why I couldn't see.
I'm the handsome fella to your
And the
immediate right.
handsome fellow right here in the middle, Mr. John Zimmerman, of course. So we got a lot to get to here. Great weekend I had Saturday night.
Just you?
Oh, all of us did.
We did.
All of us did.
Yes.
Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. Bitch of life. There it is.
There it is.
Diesel Mania. I was very impressed. I'll put it to you that way.
I'll tell you, the crowd was pretty darn hot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say, what, 250, 300 people?
Well, actually, it was estimated by somebody working there that the crowd was about 500, believe it or not.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right. Could have been easily, and honestly, I wasn't expecting that place to fill up like it did.
Yep.
Because, but it ended up filling up.
Yeah. Well, it was for an excellent cause.
Right. It was.
It was the Michael J. D'Angelo Scholarship Fund. So hopefully we'll get a figure on how much was actually raised, a final tally.
Mm-hmm.
But, we definitely made our contribution over the last two food drives, thanks to Dan. And, the folks did show up in earnest for...
They did. It was
at least for the cause, if not for the wrestling.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's a testament to how much respect that this man garnered.
Yes.
Throughout his athletic career in East Haven.
Yep.
Of course.
Yep.
In Paradise Alley too. I think they're gaining some ground.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, without a doubt.
Right. Exactly. I was very, very honored to be a part of it. We had our Squared Circle official announce table there.
Yep.
Myself, Dangerous Dan. You were up in the rafters.
Yep. Yep.
With Bill and Bad News Bob. But we had RJ Tooth leading the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. Unfortunately, tonight, that footage is not ready yet.
Right.
Because
We're not going to rush it.
right, we're not gonna rush. We're gonna hope to have something next week.
It was Saturday.
Right.
And it's only Tuesday, so
Right.
we got to do it the right way.
This is our newest. I don't know if you would call them customers, what have you, company we are going to be showing footage of.
Right.
And we want to do this the right way.
Of course.
And like fine wine and diamonds, when it's ready, it's ready.
Yeah.
What was that? I'm sorry, Dan. I was talking to this person in my
Cyborg.
head.
I said like fine wine and diamonds, ready. When it's ready, it's ready.
He hears voices in his head.
I hear voices in my head.
Well,
They
that's
talk
why,
to me.
Like Hollywood, if you can't be an athlete, at least be an athletic supporter.
Right. There you go. And you certainly are one.
I have results of it.
Yeah.
I can go over the results.
Let's get to it.
Let's get to it. I'd like to hear your evaluation of it, Mr. Zimmerman.
Well, okay.
Here.
Well, we'll do it match by match.
We'll do it match by match. We started out the evening. We had 12 great matches there. We had Kenny Roberts, who is a veteran of the local indie scene, of course, taking on 5-Star Jace, member of the 5-Star Spectacle, with his manager, Honest Abe.
Yep.
Kenny Roberts was the victor there.
It was a good opening match. They did the best they could to get the crowd involved, and I think they did a decent job. And it was for an opening match.
Mm-hmm.
They did their job and got the crowd ready to go. I don't think everyone was quite there yet, but it was good. It was fun. We had a good time, and like I said, the crowd was just starting to arrive.
Right,
and
exactly.
Just getting settled in, and
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people were still checking out the merch stands and concession and what have you. So it did get the ball rolling, but I would have liked to have seen everybody seated and ready before
Yeah.
they got it going. It was a good match.
Yeah, well, Kenny Roberts, I felt his gimmick was a little reminiscent of 80s, early 90s Coco Beware.
Yeah.
Without the parrot.
Right.
But it was a good, interesting first match. But here again, I have to agree with John. I would have liked to see the fans in attendance seated before the action actually began.
Mm-hmm. Whoever's fault that was, whatever the case may be.
Oh no, I mean it was what
Right.
it was.
Well,
you know.
we'll blame it on you, Hollywood.
Wow,
because
so
everybody knows when something goes wrong.
Just blame me.
Right.
That's all. We had the Griever, very scary man, very big man,
Yep.
very mysterious man, winning via submission versus the Corrector. The Corrector we've seen at ECPW in Bridgeport before a couple times.
Right here in the studio.
Right here in the studio. I mean, everybody in the studio knew about him when he showed up.
Oh yeah.
Unexpectedly, of
Unexpectedly
course.
busted in.
Right. I was surprised that the Corrector went down so quickly, to be honest
Yeah,
with
you
you.
know, it was really strange because, RJ and, we had discussed the Corrector is coming into his own as a wrestler, and, he's relatively new at the wrestling game, and he's gotten increasingly better as he's been training and working out. And it was just a really strange match. I don't know if somebody got hurt or it was just very quick, and then the submission happened, the sleeper hold, which we haven't seen a sleeper hold in quite a long time to finish a match.
I was expecting him to get out of that sleeper hold, and I was expecting a little more out of that one.
Yeah,
but
it was really a strange match, and unfortunately, we really didn't see what the Corrector has in him and what he
Yeah.
can do. It was it was over really just before it even got started.
that means that the Griever is just that much more powerful.
Yeah, it was really just.
Well,
It took me by surprise because I
Right.
really thought these two were going to go and have quite a brawl because they're both pretty big men and more street fighting than technical moves, and it just put him in the sleeper hold and boom.
Hopefully that's not the end of
And
the
we're like, that was
Corrector.
it. No,
Right. I mean, maybe when I was doing my commentary, I said hopefully it was, but in real life, honestly, I mean, I'd like to see more of him.
yeah, without
Right.
a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was really strange. I thought that one took me by surprise.
Right. I would have liked to see that match go quicker, but longer
Longer.
rather. But were two large men, and unfortunately, when you cut off that blood supply to the cerebellum, it can have those effects. But barring serious injury to either participant, I too would have liked to see it go a little bit longer.
They probably could have easily. Mr. Williams and Gino, the god of sexiness. Mr. Williams, I mean, I'm familiar with him outside of the wrestling business. I'll just put it that way.
Shares your name anyway.
Shares my name.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
I hear he tells me he's been around for a long time
Yeah.
wrestling. I think I'd only seen him once before, but I was pretty impressed.
Yeah.
So that makes
And I'm not just saying that because his last name is Williams.
Well,
Right.
I'm sure he regrets that, having the same last name as you, because anybody named Williams.
I think he's probably honored.
You weren't saying that night, but that's okay.
I was saying something like that night about he's honored to have my last name, or, something like that. I don't know. I was rooting for him just because he was my namesake.
There you go.
Right, and us Williamses, we got to stick together. What'd you think, John?
Another solid match. Gino DeGod, came out and he did the heel gimmick really well and got the crowd motivated against him.
Mm-hmm.
So and Mr. Williams came in, of course, and was the victor. So I think the crowd reacted and they did their job and got the crowd spiced up. I think at this point was when everybody was finally in their seats and focused on
Right.
wrestling rather than seeing the friends that they knew and talking
Right,
about the
exactly.
event and what
It
happened.
was a big community event.
Oh yeah,
everybody
yeah.
knew everybody
hadn't
that was
seen each
there.
other in a
Right.
while, and stuff like that. Especially since the school was just starting, and we're at the high school. So I mean, a lot of people from that the high school community
Right.
were there, and they hadn't seen each other for the summer, and so I think a lot of that was going on. And so at this point, I think people were just getting settled in and focused on the wrestling. So
Exactly.
Yeah, and I had bumped into some friends that I knew from the political world as well as around town.
Mm-hmm.
So it was an
You
interesting.
know
event.
everybody in East Haven.
Well, pretty much, but
Right. I mean, almost household per household, I think. That's just quite amazing.
yeah,
Here we go. Here's one of the big ones. Here's one of the major title matches of the evening. Something I was sort of looking forward to for a few weeks.
no,
The Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling Centering. I don't know why they call it Divas, but we'll call it Divas Championship.
that's what they call it. That's what it's called.
That's what it's called. Prefer to name women a little bit more, but that's just my opinion. But
If the title is Divas,
the
then
title is
you call it
Divas. We'll call it the Divas,
Right.
though. Tequila Rose successfully defending against Allison Jade. Tequila Rose with her manager Joseph DiNucci.
I went absolutely crazy.
Right.
You know, I've said it over and over. I love his character. DiNucci is the best manager in the business right now, and the people that didn't know him reacted to him, and you know,
Right.
either loved him or hated him. His gimmick is so great, and you know, he got everybody, you know, just looking around at the faces. They were either in shock or you know just laughing or just you know he gets reaction.
Right.
And
He was not billed to be on the card
Right.
at all.
I didn't know he was going to be.
I
there.
wouldn't know he was
And,
going
and I got to say, I popped. You know, when he walked out, I was like, "This is great."
Right.
I was really, and you know, I got to meet him afterwards for the first time because you guys know him pretty well by now.
Right.
And you know, I told him, I said, you know, I talk about you, you know, each time we show footage of you, and I just love your gimmick. I love the character. And he came out and just really added a little extra to this match.
A little more tequila flavoring.
And as
let's
I
just say.
predicted, Tequila Rose
Right.
was victorious.
And of course, we had two BEAUT full women
Mm-hmm.
in the match, so it kept all the gentlemen's attention in the audience. It was an interesting match here again. It could have went a little bit longer.
I did feel that way. It could have went a little bit longer than it did.
They did have a lot of matches on the card, though. So
Right, they had
Right.
12,
They had a
12
lot
big
to get
matches,
through,
so
yeah.
fans definitely got their money's worth.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they had a lot of matches and a lot to get to, and you know, I can see, you know, it was tough to get everybody in, and you know, all,
With a little less matches, it probably could have gone a little bit longer.
oh yeah, yeah.
Right.
And I'm not saying you
Right.
should have cut anything because you know, you know, props to everyone on the card. But you know, it was a stacked card, and you know, you only have so many hours to be. You know, you got a curfew on the room, so you know, everybody only got a short window of time.
Right.
But they made the best of it.
They did. They made the bit. Rose's technical ability speaks for itself.
Yep.
Obviously.
Yep.
A veteran at this point.
And you know, as I said before, you know, the experience of Tequila Rose is going to outweigh Allison Jade at this time. You know, Allison Jade is definitely coming into her own.
Right.
And you know, she's relatively new in the wrestling scene. She's been in the wrestling business per
Right.
se for quite a while, as we all know. But as far as training and wrestling, it's you know a very short time. You know, especially compared to Tequila Rose and the Sea Stars and some of the other women's competition that's out there.
Right. I think we'll be seeing some great things from her
Oh yeah, we
coming along in the
definitely
future.
haven't seen the
Right.
last of her.
Definitely. And I'm sure one of these days we'll have her call-in guest or potentially
Right.
in studio.
Right.
Ironically enough. Then we had, moving right along, we had two of the young talents of Paradise Alley, two people that RJ feels as if are going to be the future of this company coming up. We had Zane Bernardo versus RJ Rude versus Spectacular JC, who's a veteran, part of the 5-Star Spectacle. He's a really impressive guy, Spectacular JC.
Yeah.
But Zane Bernardo proved that he was the better man that night.
Well,
surprisingly to me.
he had quite an entourage, and he had almost his own, like Cesaro section. He had his own section and merch and T-shirts and signs, and I think he brought the most entourage with him, as far as a fandom. He had like a whole section, and they were going absolutely crazy for him. So, it's good that he got to go over in front of his, his fans and his family and friends, and I'm assuming.
Right.
But you know what? I'll go on a limb and say, for me, this was match of the night. Because here we had, two really brand new up and comers, and and JC, and the way they paced the match, and it was a three-way dance, and as they threw one guy out of the ring, the other two got to shine.
Right.
And it was very well paced, and the guy outside the ring, I was watching, and they're selling their injury, and
JC was out there for quite a few minutes while Rude and Bernardo in there doing their own
exactly, and then they rotated through, each guy got their time to shine, and while the other guy was out injured or recovering,
right,
and even while they were outside the ring, I was watching, and like I said, they were selling and doing well, rather than just waiting for their spot to come back in, which, in reality, that's what they're doing. But they did a great job, and to me, it was match of the night to see these two guys, really start to come into their own.
right.
So, and props to both young men.
Right, and no matter which part of Connecticut you go to see Mr. Bernardo, whether it be Enfield or, in this case, East Haven High School, I guess we can say Zanemania is catching on because, like you said, he does seem to have his own crowd section, similar to Cesaro. And I see good things for this guy.
Yeah. You can see where, some of the moves were just, I don't want to say tentative, but, they were. So, I mean, they're working on it, and the smoothness is going to come with more matches and more experience. But you can see, they have the foundation, and these guys are just going to keep building on it and building on it and building on it. And those moves are going to get smoother and smoother and smoother as they keep working.
Right, definitely. I'm glad Bernardo was the favorite there. I was expecting, conventional wisdom. You would think JC.
Right.
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 But
And JC towered over those two.
he did. He really did.
Yeah.
He's
Props to him, and for doing the job.
Okay, now wait a minute. I'm stuck on something here. Hollywood and conventional wisdom. Just click.
stranger things have happened, I guess.
They have.
Right.
The
Now,
broken clock is right twice.
And Jay's never on time twice.
Old School taking on the Battle Brothers and Dave Olson. Are you? I'm not really surprised at all by the team winning. You?
This is the first time I've seen Old School in action. We must say that Big Dave, Big Steve,
was not part of it.
Was not part of it due to his political career. I guess he thought better than to get in the ring.
Right.
So Big Steve had to bow out. But no, it's not. I mean, we're not surprised. Old School is Old School because they've got the experience, and I must remain consistent that the experience of Tequila Rose over Allison Jade, so the experience of Old School over the Battle Brothers.
Mm-hmm. Experience counted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I thought Mr. Mario Mancini did well in this match. I would have liked to see Big Steve Tracy, but in this match as well. But like you said, he does have a political career. He's running for the state representative in the 99th district against James Albus from East Haven. And so him actually taking himself out of the match for that evening was the smarter move.
Right.
He was going around shaking hands and talking to the folks.
Shaking hands and kissing the babies. Quote,
Shaking hands, slapping babies. He was doing all
right,
that stuff.
Right.
But I must say that there was no politics involved. He wasn't campaigning at all. There was no signs or any indication that there was any political action going involved. This was strictly for Diesel Mania.
Right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and I applaud him for that because he had an audience of 300 to 500 people that he could have gotten in the ring and made a speech, said I'm campaigning and blah 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 blah, what have you, and he refrained from that, and I applaud him for that because I 100% expected him at least to inform the people that he was
Running.
in the race, yeah.
Right.
And
But it didn't really happen.
and the only mention was because of his political career,
Right.
he wasn't going to be able to wrestle. So I applaud him for that because I really expected some sort of push or speech or campaigning of some sort. So,
It didn't happen.
right.
Right. Was impressed by the two gentlemen that Mario was joined with in that 6-man. Hope to see more of them.
Yeah.
Right. One was a college athlete, I understand.
Yeah.
See what happens there.
Yeah.
Right. But another match I was looking forward to seeing. Some might say that I wasn't looking forward to seeing him return. In all seriousness, it was pretty cool to see Saru back.
Yeah.
Of course,
I understand you and Saru got in a little bit of a scuffle, and there may be some pictures.
Yeah.
there's a couple pictures there
Yeah.
posted on the group page.
Yeah. On our
for
group page,
people
you
to-
can see
Right.
Saru punching Jay right in the
Yeah.
face.
Right. But I
I
mean,
paid him well for that too.
the heel in me though was very, very glad that Jeremy went over. Dirt Dog Jeremy Leary, of course,
Yep. Yep.
from Blitzkrieg Pro, from Pioneer Valley,
Yep.
serving up some barbecued monkey.
Yeah.
Too bad I couldn't make it for dinner Sunday night. Oh well, what are you gonna do? But Jeremy, I think Jeremy's. I think it's probably another issue of the experience factor again. Saru not being around as long,
Right.
and is he really capable of being the face of a company, like I've mentioned before?
Right.
Who knows?
Well, like to some people, I guess you could say he has appeal.
Wow.
Whoa. Monkey Gate is behind us.
Yes.
It was nice to see Saru. It was nice to see my good friend Jeremy Leary beat the monkey you know what out of Saru.
Right. Right. It was a solid, solid match.
Right.
Exactly what you'd expect out of both Jeremy Leary and Saru.
High flying. That's what Saru
Yeah.
does.
Flying monkey, right out of Wizard of Oz.
Right. What were your thoughts on Mr. Saru's match versus Mr. Leary?
I thought it was decent.
Right.
I won't say it was great, but decent.
Mm.
There were some clever spots, like when Saru took off one mask and there was another mask underneath.
Right. That was a Diesel Mania moment
Mm-hmm.
instead of a WrestleMania moment.
I understood what you got. I see what you're going.
We're 2 steps ahead of you. We got to go back 1 step to
Mm-hmm.
catch up.
Interesting. And then we had, let's see, we're going over here to the House of Pain. I don't know much about them, taking on Len Oddity and Jurassic Era with their manager, DR Star.
Yes.
I managed to mess up on DR Star's name during my commentary
Really?
and inadvertently called him Jekyll. My apologies to Mr. Star.
There was a signing of Jekyll, by the way.
There was.
Yeah.
There was a Jekyll signing.
Yes, there was.
Yeah.
Talked to him myself.
Really?
Well, as much as Jekyll talks, but
As much as he talks.
In which-
Is he still into shiny things?
he's Jekyll.
He's Jekyll.
He's unpredictable, but
Mm.
another great wrestling character in the Connecticut scene.
House of Pain winning over that. Some big guys there into House of Pain. I don't know much about them. It's our first time out at this product.
Right,
You know,
right.
We'll get to know everybody just like we've got to know everybody else everywhere else,
Of course.
and they'll love us just like everybody else does.
Yep. Yep.
Right, and the House of Pain, of course, borrows their name from I want to say 90s group with Jump Around.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Right.
familiar with that song.
Mm-hmm. Get off your seats and jump around.
Not a fan, but
Yeah, not a fan myself.
at any rate,
At any rate, Paul Roma taking on Marco. Paul Roma, former member of the Four Horsemen, former member of Pretty Wonderful, former member of Power and Glory with
Yep.
Hercules, of course. experience counts there against Marco. Never heard of Marco before, but
Right.
Roma still looks good for his age. Got to admit.
Well, it's, Methuselah and then Roma, so,
He proved that he can still go.
I mean, Paul Roma definitely is still in physical, great shape physically. I was a little disappointed in the match. I thought it was going to be a little bit more physical. It was, I don't know. I was underwhelmed. I was expecting more. I'm not saying they did a poor job. I'm saying I was kind of expecting more. I haven't seen Paul Roma in the ring in, oh my goodness, a very long time for me. I'm sure, he's been with this product for a while, but I haven't seen him in the ring for a while. So maybe I was expecting more from when I was younger, when I was a kid and saw him fight back in the days of the Fed. But
I thought it looked like he was in good shape. And
he's in great shape, and I've seen him out,
Right.
outside the ring.
I'm not saying it was one of his better
person,
matches, of course not. But
saw him at a big event not too long ago.
Right.
Physically, he's still in great shape.
right, for his age, physically, he's still in good shape and he can still go, but
I don't know, something, there wasn't like pizzazz or smart, it wasn't what I was expecting. I was probably expecting to see him as his younger self.
right. At times,
Right.
times have changed.
Right, yeah.
We
So
all-
it
we
was
all
only
get
my,
older.
and no disrespect or insult to him. It was my expectation
Right.
that wasn't met, and I blame myself for that.
Right. And you gotta consider now it's 2016 and,
Right.
and not 1996.
Right.
Right.
So
Right. Then, any more thoughts on that, or
and the years do go by and you guys keep getting older and I keep getting better. So
hey now, Matthias or Matthias. Matthias. This was for the PAPW
Matthias.
Intercontinental
Matthias,
title.
Matthias.
Matthias taking on Lucas Sharp. That match, I mean, Lucas, we saw him recently in South Hadley go one-on-one with AJ Cruz, his own tag team partner, for almost had to be a half hour at least, longer. But Lucas Sharp can go, and this Matthias, he bested him, and he proved that he can. If he can hang with somebody like Lucas Sharp,
right.
he can hang.
I don't believe that Lucas Sharp was announced for this card, was he? It was a surprise to me
No,
because we didn't discuss it.
I don't think there
prior.
was an actual graphic for it,
Okay.
but I knew he would be there.
Okay,
Right,
maybe
right,
I zoned out on that one.
right.
But I was surprised to see him. Lucas Sharp is one of the best ring psychologists in the local scene today. He got out there, people that didn't know him immediately hated him. He gets out there and he just draws a reaction from the crowd.
Right.
And he definitely drew a reaction from this crowd and got people to dislike him. And I think right in front of our camera, after the match, he got into a confrontation with
He
a
did.
fan.
That was a serious confrontation.
Yeah, I mean, to the point where Big Steve had to come over and calm the fan down, and
We almost had an added bonus match there.
yeah,
which
the
was
young lady was ready to tear him
Right.
a new one. It was
Uh-huh.
it was interesting. I believe it was right in front of the camera, and I'm hoping that our cameraman Dylan had it still running,
We did have it still running.
because that was almost a bonus match.
Mm-hmm.
And for a guy to come out, sight unseen, I don't think this young lady had ever met or seen him wrestle before, and to get that type of reaction
Right.
from somebody, he's doing something right.
Mm-hmm.
And Matthias, the victor in that match, but Lucas Sharp definitely got the crowd to react and pumped up.
Mm.
So it's great to have him on the card, and a good spot to have him on the card, right leading into the co-main events.
now we want to at this time we want to take a couple seconds to send out belated birthday wishes to somebody Jay has forgot to mention. Joey Ambersini had a birthday and appeared on the card as a manager escorting
Matthias.
Matthias to
Matthias.
the ring.
Matthias, yes.
Right.
He did.
I was sitting in a little confrontation on the other commentary table, but
Right. There was that other commissary table diagonally across from
right,
our
I had a
own.
little confrontation with Mr. Ambrosini.
Yes, that's I was told.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Joey talked to me after
Right.
after it all happened.
Joey talks to everybody.
Joey has got a lot of energy,
He does.
but
I wish I had his energy
yeah,
still.
and he's very creative. He does a lot of graphics, and if you need graphics done, this is the guy to go to because he gets it done in a moment's notice.
Right, exactly.
And he's very artistic. He draws some really nice sketches as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I wished him happy birthday in person, but we'll give him a shout out as well.
Exactly. A couple more matches, then we got some footage from a recent event. We'll put it to that way. We can give you a little bit of a surprise there. Bull James went over on Big Jim Anderson.
I wasn't big on that match. I felt Big
Kinda-
Jim Anderson got squashed
Yes.
too quickly for the talent level of that Big Jim has.
Mm-hmm.
And here again, would have liked to see it gone longer, but if we got our wish and every match went longer or was
We'd still be
extended,
there,
we'd
yeah.
still be there.
Yeah, I know. With 12 matches,
Yeah.
and being in a high school, you have to be out of there by a certain
Right, we
amount
do
of
have a
time.
curfew. So.
Right, exactly.
And
so
of course, this card was held in the pride of East Haven, the East Haven High School.
right. And of course, Richard Halliday taking on Dave Cole.
That I wasn't there for. I went to work. Sorry.
You went to work.
My apologies.
I'm
to,
glad.
Dave
I'm glad
Cole and
Halliday
Richard
went
Halliday.
over. I love Richard Halliday's gimmick. I was so glad he and Big Jim graced us with their presence last week in the studio.
Yeah, yeah.
No, Holiday's always a dick, so you know.
Hey,
it doesn't
now.
impress me.
Whoa.
Where's that tape? We gotta censor him. We're gonna go now to some footage of a recent Blitzkrieg Pro Wrestling event. We'll go to that now with about 25 minutes left in the show. Guys in the back. There we go.
Introducing first. Turn that up. Coming to you from the hallowed hovels of Ridgemont High. Weighing 182 pounds, this is Icarus. Icarus.
You look like the guy that works at the gas station down the street from me that got laid off 2 weeks ago for not being able to wake up on time.
That is him. And his opponent. From Mike Russell has been eliminated.
I don't believe it.
Well, at any rate.
At any rate, we're back.
But as you know, in the wrestling business, any reaction,
Mm-hmm.
means you're doing your job well. When they're sitting their hands,
Mm-hmm.
you're not doing a good job. But either if they applaud for you and love you to pieces, or if they, throw stuff at you and hate you to pieces, that means you're doing your job. And again, people hated Vicky Guerrero, and somebody, I can't stand her, and it's like, there you go, she's doing
Right.
her job. That's what she's there to do.
Mm-hmm. You're not supposed to be able to stand her. That's the whole point.
She's doing her job. So DG Haven again,
Like you guys can't stand me.
Right.
I guess I'm doing my job.
There you go. There you go.
No, we never said we can't stand you.
We
We
love
just
you,
said we want
Jason.
less of you.
Right. We love you, Jay. You know that.
Somebody's got to.
Come on.
I know.
You got a face only a mother could love and
You
pay
love
that.
it when I write those.
Yeah, there we go.
There.
So last night, Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, we might as well talk a little bit about Raw. We don't get the chance to talk about mainstream too much anymore with all this footage coming at us left and right.
I will say, sorry, Dan, but with the rumors of a possible takeover of TNA by Vince McMahon and company, the stock for WWE has been going up, almost hitting $21.
Mm-hmm.
Good for me. Love it. The bad news is Raw got trumped last night by
Raw got trumped, all right.
by
Right.
the debate. Hour one, the ratings were 2.85. Hour two significantly dropped because that's when at 9 o'clock the presidential debate,
Right.
which was a better fight than Monday
Then
Night Raw.
most of what was on Monday Night Raw.
Absolutely.
Right.
So hour two dropped to 2.38, and hour three dropped to 2.20. Because once some people started watching the debate, and other people caught on a little later as the debate.
I watched about 5
got
minutes of the debate.
more heated and more
Right.
interesting. So the overall average is 2.46, down from last week's 2.68. But the debate absolutely killed the ratings for Monday Night Raw, and I'd imagine for the football game as well.
Well, now, in my defense, John,
Yes.
I've always mentioned that I'm a fan of all wrestling.
Yes.
And that as wrestling fans, we should all be a fan of all wrestling.
Yeah.
I do watch the WWE product
Yeah.
when it's good.
Yeah.
They do on a rare occasion put out a good match. So I have watched their product.
Yeah.
Jason will testify. I have watched their pay-per-views.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Well, it's going to be interesting the next few months to see where and what happens with TNA.
Right.
It's rumored that Billy Corgan is trying to, buy out the three partners that are involved with TNA at the moment,
Correct.
and it's also rumored that Vince McMahon and company are trying to buy it out. And
That was another rumor, but they've been talking about the sale of TNA for years now.
right,
So.
right.
Right, they've been talking about it since day one.
I know for a
That
fact.
TNA, since day
Right.
one, there have been doubters that TNA wasn't going to last. They
Right.
were paper in the audience. They weren't going to be around. And 15 years later, they're still out there swinging.
Right.
Right.
Well, I do know for a fact that Vince McMahon has sold some of his shares in WWE, which shows that he's looking to get a stockpile of cash together.
Well,
Right.
at the same time, Linda McMahon has become a big supporter of a big political supporter, of course, of the
Republican Party.
Republican Party.
Yes.
Could it be possible that Vince is using some of that cash to make donations to the Republican Party?
Anything possible, but you know, allegedly Linda's money is separate from Vince's money. But I mean, anything's
Allegedly.
possible.
Anything's
Anything's
possible.
possible.
Anything's possible till it's not.
But he did recently sell, because when you're a principal owner, you sell that many shares, you have to report it to the SEC, and of course that report gets down to the shareholders.
Mm-hmm.
So
And you being a shareholder.
yes, yeah, I've got my shares.
Got your shares.
So it's interesting to see what's going to happen. But Vince obviously is stockpiling cash for one reason or another. But
I say TNA is just going to still be around in a few more months.
oh,
I don't even think it's going to be sold.
well, they haven't. According to the reports, they haven't. They don't have the cash to pay their employees once again.
Well, if that were true, John, then why would they be hiring new talent? Such as Cody Rhodes,
It's,
which WWE failed to do anything productively
Right,
with
right.
over the length of his contract. Cody Rhodes' wife was just recently hired.
right. Well, I mean, Cody
So
Rhodes.
so if you're going in the dumper, you don't hire new talent.
Right,
You
you're trying to
downsize.
save the product by bringing in a Cody Rhodes. So hopefully, you're going to bring in viewers, which brings in advertising rates, which saves the company.
That's one view, but you don't bring in.
You wouldn't bring a whole bunch of people, maybe.
Right. You want to bring in a whole bunch of new talent, maybe one or two big faces people would recognize.
Right.
Right.
And they've brought in new talent, fresh talent. They've created the global championship, their new belt,
Right.
which the rules are similar to the UFC crowd, unlike the WWE where they have all their titles, which are replicas of each other,
Yeah.
for lack of
Right.
a better word.
Right.
And it looks interesting going into Bound for Glory on October 2nd.
Yeah.
Right. More interesting than that cruiserweight division in the WWE, which looks like is going to be the Brian Kendrick show.
And I understand their cruiserweight tournament was won by the man who played Suicide.
Yes. From
Yes.
a TNA.
T.J.
cast-
Perkins.
Right.
T.J. Perkins was the man who was formerly Suicide from TNA.
from TNA.
So if that's the best you can do for a cruiserweight division, that's doesn't
Right.
speak very highly of your cruiserweight division.
No.
How so?
T.J. Perkins.
I thought Suicide was a great character, and that X Division was one of the better things in TNA.
Suicide was the X division is what TNA is built on, but you don't want to have T.J. Perkins out there. You want to go out if you're a multi-billionaire corporation and hire the best on the market.
My
today.
big hang up is it looks like Perkins is going to lose that belt to Brian Kendrick. And Brian Kendrick, I mean, if this is supposed to be bringing in new talent
Right.
and young, fresh faces, explain even putting in title contention Brian Kendrick, who
It's payback for training Eva Marie. Flat out.
you're
He got stuck with having to train Eva Marie, which was not an easy task.
so
And this is
it's like, okay, well, we're going to do you a favor, so you do me a favor.
business.
And so Brian Kendrick gets to be the face of the old new face of
Well,
the
I mean, he gets a shot at it anyway.
right.
You know.
So instead of bringing in newer faces, newer talent that people haven't seen, we'll just go to the old guys
Yeah.
because
Well, and
pat us on
it's
the back.
Which
it's
I
done-
know was
it's
never
been
really
done
a big
and
Brian
done and done
Kendrick
again.
fan
How
to
many
begin.
times? How many times did they bring back The Rock? You know, how many times are they bringing back Brock Lesnar?
They did it.
It's-
They did it
it's just-
before, and
Right.
even Jericho when he comes back.
And
first
Jericho's
first
right.
he's wow, but then he goes.
Yeah, you know,
Downhill.
and they bring back Jericho, and they, you know, and I'm
so
not
it's a
saying I
temporary
agree with
bump
it.
in ratings at best.
Right. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm always a proponent of focusing on the newer talent and the younger talent to just refresh the product. We've seen Jericho fight basically, you know, every type of match that he can do. You know, whether it's a cage match or a, you know, this or that, you know, handicap match and tag team match. You know, we've seen Jericho do everything he can do. We've seen Brock Lesnar, you know, do everything that he's capable of.
Including steroids.
Well, you know, so, you know, we don't need to bring back, and I'm not saying it's right that Brian Kendrick is in contention for that title, but, you know, we've seen it over and over again, and that's just how the WWE decides to conduct their business. I say watch NXT. I think it's a better product, and they do focus on the new talent and the younger talent, and I think it's right now.
NXT is hot.
Yeah.
Right, it is hot.
And I've seen it live, you know, several times, and I'd love to go see it again.
Right.
And I think it's the best product that WWE has at the moment.
Well, with 5 minutes left, I just want to I'll run down my list of shows coming up for independent wrestling. Of course, don't forget the Friday night fights every Friday night in Chester there at the PWA training facility, still going on, of course. We have a PvP, an unexpected one, this coming Friday at the PAC, Polish American Citizens Club in South Hadley, 7:30 to 10 p.m. They're calling it Fandom Friday.
Yep.
We also have the PvP Wrestling Dead Season 2 in Hadley, Massachusetts. It has been switched from the, not Hadley, it's been switched from Hadley to South Hadley, excuse me. There was a venue change there. I have to report on there for those interested in taking the trek up to Massachusetts, hotbed for wrestling, of course.
Yep.
We have
I take it that's a hint.
Blitzkrieg's next event. We saw a little bit of their last event. Their next event coming up October 28th. Should I stay or should I go?
You should go.
TNA fans are going to be impressed by this. This is, of course, taking place at the Old Country Banquet Facility, 1 Alden Avenue in Enfield. So far announced, we have a 4-way ladies match. You have Katrid versus Solo Darling versus Skylar versus, and this will be the 3rd time I get to see her inside of a year, TNA's own Jade,
Yep.
So which
also known as Mia Yim.
so which one are you stalking?
Jade or Mia Yim?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I had the privilege of meeting Mia Yim, Jade,
Yes.
at the big event.
Yes.
The past 2 big events,
Yes,
of course.
yes.
Right. And now to see you're competing for one of my favorite indie promotions right now.
Yep.
Hot indie promotion in
Yep.
Blitzkrieg Wrestling. It's going to be great to see her competing in person.
Yep.
So we'll get to see her there. You must be really excited too, Dan.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to that show yet, but it does
You know-
does sound like a very good show.
So far. They also have their first annual Enders Cup November 18th. 8 teams, 32 competitors, 1 night. That will also be at the Old Country Banquet facility. And Notafinga 2016, December 10th, 2016. This being at the Enrico Fermi High School. That's 124 H Maple, I don't know, High Maple Street maybe, Enfield, Connecticut. That's a 6 to 10:30 p.m. Excuse me.
Yep.
Can't even read my own handwriting.
And if I may, PWA in Cheshire, this Monday, the new session for the youth program, ages 11 to 17, will commence. Pro Wrestling Academy, Pro Wrestling Academy CT.com for information to sign up for your son or daughter ages 11 to 17 to get into wrestling in the PWA youth program. Also, tomorrow night, training at the PWA facility in Cheshire will be Azriel, the PWA Squared Circle.
Wow.
Yeah, PWA Squared Circle
Our own
television
champion will be there.
We'll be training.
The champ will
so
be there.
If you want to train with the PWA Squared Circle television champion, you can head over to Cheshire at PWA tomorrow night and sign up to get in the ring and train with the one and only Azriel. And if you look at this past PWI's top 500, you'll see that he's listed in there as the Squared Circle television champion, PWA Squared Circle television champion. And if you check his Wikipedia page, we're mentioned on there as well.
That's
so
amazing. That
thank
is
you,
awesome.
Azriel, for attending.
That's an honor.
Yeah, and if you look at his page, his personal page, he is a busy guy. He's fighting all over New England and elsewhere, and he's holding our championship very well. And thank you very much to Azriel, and hopefully you'll see him tomorrow night at PWA.
Absolutely. Any final thoughts, real quick, Dan?
Final
With
thoughts.
less than a minute.
Well, of course, I just want to thank the residents of East Haven and the surrounding communities who came out to support Dieselmania in honor of Michael J. D'Angelo and make that the success it was. And on top of that, I want to thank Paradise Alley Wrestling and Mr. Mario Mancini for having Jay, myself, and John welcome there as guests, and Jay and I as commentators.
Definitely, and we have the invite already for November 12th. This time at Joseph Melillo Middle School, their next big event. So you can stay tuned for that beautiful PAPW footage for the first time ever on the Squared Circle, hopefully next week. But for now, go out there and defend indie wrestling just like us. I'm Hollywood J. Williams. Good night and good luck. See you next Tuesday.
Don't go to Popeyes.